homage march. Before we begin, we're going to number our measures. Starting at the very beginning, even though we don't play, we'll number that number 1, or the first measure. That means when we actually begin the excerpt, that will be measure 5. The second line begins with measure 7, the third line with measure 11, the fourth line with measure 15, measure 18, and then measure 20. At measure 5, I play the C, C, and then the F in measure 6 with first finger. I do this because first finger is my most relaxed vibrato finger. For some people it'll be 2. That's okay. As long as we get the spirit of the crescendo and decrescendo. At the end of measure 6, I shift from F with 1 to F with 2 on the A string. This seems risky until you realize we have to jump all the way up to the E flat. By shifting from one F to the other, I decrease the amount of shifting I have to do. Some people can pull off the F to the E flat from the D string to the G string, but I don't think it's worth the risk. At measure 7, we have the E flat accented. We don't want to crush this accent. It's a horizontal accent, so I usually play those with more bow through the string, trying to get the string to vibrate as much as possible. This excerpt has a lot of accents, so it may help you to highlight with a bright color all of the accents, which is what I've done. After the E flat, we have to figure out how we're going to group the eighth notes. I play the C with 1 and the A with 4 before shifting to half position. At the B flat, we have slash marks. So it's a whole note B flat, or half note B flat, with 3 slash marks. This means that we're going to play 8 16th notes. All we have to do now is add an accent on the first 16th note. This goes for measures 9 and 10 as well. Now, after the B flat, we have open A, which we'll use to shift down the D string. All in position, and then we shift to 4th finger on the A string for a closed D. This sets up the C to C, another octave. From here, we'll go to E flat on the A string. Here at measure 11, Grieg reminds us that the eighth notes will be staccato, even if they're accented. Starting at measure 11, we have A, open G, high G, with harmonic, 4 on F, D with 1, back to 4 on F, which sets up E flat and C. Measure 12, we have to shift up to thumb position for the B flat. Thumb. And then we have to choose, do we want to set up the E flat C as we did in measure 11 with 1-4, or do we want to stay on the G string? I'll show you the first choice. One. B flat's already there. Use the open G to shift back to half position. The second fingering keeps most of the notes on the G string. The second fingering, of course, has an easier right hand, but a lot more shifting. At letter L, you may have seen me turn off the metronome. This is because I wanted to execute an animato. Animato is exactly how it looks. More animated, which usually translates as a little bit more tempo. With the metronome at 112, my goal was to only go up to about 120. Too fast, and I won't be able to play the triplets at, or starting at measure 17. In measure 17, we have an F major arpeggio. Once again, two options for the fingerings. One involves more shifting, one involves more string crossings. I chose to go with more shifting in this case. So you play F with 4, reaching back for low F with 1. Shifting on open A to C with 1, F with 1, so we're making a bar. A with 4, C with 1. It goes back down, but it's the same fingering. And E flat with 2. The second fingering begins the same, but we're going to the E string for C, and the A string with F. Once again, we can bar down there. The reason we use 2 is because we need to have the A on the D string ready. And as the first fingering, we repeat part of that fingering. Ending up with E flat with second finger. Here, I experimented with a number of ways, but this way seems to work best. High thumb, E flat, D with 1, C with thumb. This may take a little bit of practice, but you'll realize it's the easiest fingering choice. In the next measure, we have G, F, E. So we're pivoting, which means we need to keep our thumb back every time we reach for G. And it's okay to hit it, G as a harmonic. So I do 3, 2, 1. It's important to realize that the first eighth note in each set of triplets is accented in measure 18 and measure 19. And then the first triplet eighth note of measure 20 is accented. After which, for F, E flat, we play 4, 1, D, C, 4, 1, B flat, A. We could do 2, 1, but I think it would be more helpful to do 4, 2, or going in the half position there on the B flat. Here's that fingering. Harmonic, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, call this an avalanche. The music's going down, but the volume's going up. As my stoso, it's important not to get too excited. It's already fortissimo and accented and slower. My goal for these last two notes is to have the string vibrate as wide as possible with a little bit of accent. Lastly, the speed of those notes in my so-so depends on the amount of retard that you do in measure 19. For me, I tend to save the tempo change around the third or fourth beat of measure 19. For you, it may be different. It's important to broaden your bow in measures 19 and 20 as you slow down to have a great sustained sound. Overall, don't go for the tempo range right away. Figure out your fingerings, figure out what's comfortable for you, figure out the string crossings, and then work your way up until you get to a comfortable tempo between 112 and 120.